You guys will never believe what happened. I'm working at this lively small city newspaper, chasing my dream of becoming a photojournalist, and my boss, Daniel, is this editor-in-chief with a seasoned vibe. Think salt and pepper hair, piercing eyes, and a voice that could command a newsroom. So the other night I was working late thinking I had the office to myself when he walked back in. What started as a quick chat turned into something way more intense. Want to know how it played out? Keep watching, because this story is all about blurred lines and desires that spark brighter than a breaking headline. Like and subscribe for more. Chloe's days at the Riverside Gazette were a whirlwind of deadlines and shutter clicks, each assignment a new frame in her quest to become a photojournalist. Her desk in the bustling newspaper office was her creative hub, cluttered with camera gear, photo proofs, and the faint scent of ink and coffee, where she poured her heart into capturing stories that mattered. Her latest photo series, a candid shot of a city council meeting, reflected her restless energy, its contrasts sharp and vivid, much like her own desires. But lately, her lens kept focusing on Daniel, her editor-in-chief, whose commanding presence had become a distraction she couldn't ignore. At 55, Daniel was a seasoned journalist with a charisma that had caught her eye since she started at the paper 3 months ago. His salt and pepper hair was neatly trimmed. His piercing blue eyes carried the weight of years spent chasing stories, and his hands, steady from years of editing copy, moved with a quiet authority. His good work, Chloe, in the newsroom, paired with a nod that felt personal, made her heart skip. She'd told herself it was nothing, just admiration for a boss who'd built a career on truth and precision. But her daring streak, always simmering beneath the surface, pushed her to test the boundaries. And tonight, that streak led to a moment she hadn't planned. It was late, the office quiet, the hum of the city filtering through the windows as streetlights cast long shadows across the newsroom. Chloe had stayed late to edit photos for a feature, thinking she was alone, her desk lamp casting a warm glow over her proofs. She was lost in her work, humming softly, when the door creaked open. Daniel walked in, his tie loosened, his jacket slung over his shoulder, his blue eyes scanning the room until they landed on her. "Chloe," he said, his voice a low, warm rumble tinged with surprise. "Didn't expect anyone to be here this late." She froze, her camera in hand, her heart pounding as the air shifted. "Just finishing up," she said, her voice steady but charged, brushing her hair back. "Thought I'd get ahead on the feature." He stepped closer, setting his jacket on a chair, his eyes lingering on her scattered proofs. "You're dedicated," he said, a hint of amusement in his tone. "Most people would have called it a night hours ago." She grinned, leaning back in her chair, her pulse racing with her daring streak. "Gotta make the most of it, right? Deadlines don't sleep." His smile was slow, knowing, his eyes twinkling as he pulled up a chair beside her desk. "Neither do you, apparently. Mind if I take a look?" The boundary between professional and personal blurred as he leaned in, his shoulder brushing hers, the contacts sending a spark through her. They reviewed her photos, his feedback sharp but encouraging, the air thick with flirty tension. Every shared glance, every moment, his hand hovered near hers as he pointed to a proof, carried more weight than the last, a quiet office charged with an energy that neither could ignore. Chloe's pulse pounded, her dangerous desires making her feel bold, alive. "Am I in trouble for staying late?" she teased, her voice soft but daring, her eyes locked on his. "Only the good kind," he said, his voice low, his smile warm, the moment simmering like the city outside. The next morning, Chloe woke in her apartment. Daniel's voice lingering in her mind, her dreams tangled with the memory of the office, the way his eyes had held hers over her photos. She shook it off, blaming her impulsiveness, but her thoughts kept drifting to him as she headed to the newsroom. Work was hectic, sorting assignments and editing shots, but every time her phone buzzed, she hoped it was him. Around noon, a text came through. "Those photos last night? Impressive. You're full of surprises. D. Her heart skipped, and she smiled, typing back, "Just doing my job. Gotta keep you on your toes, right?" His reply was quick, "You're doing more than that. Coffee later? I owe you for burning the midnight oil." Her pulse raced and she hesitated, her fingers hovering over the keys. She should keep things professional, play it safe. But her dangerous desires urged her to chase the spark she'd felt last night. "You're on. I'm at the coffee shop across the street till 3. Bring your best editor story." That afternoon, Daniel walked into the coffee shop, a marked-up article tucked under his arm, his grin disarming as he slid into a booth. "Thought I'd bring a story, as requested," he said, passing her the article, his fingers brushing hers, the contact sending a spark up her arm. Chloe took the article, her cheeks flushing as she glanced at his handwritten notes on a feature she'd shot. "You're spoiling me," she teased, leaning across the table. "First late-night critiques, now your edits. What's next?" He shrugged, his blue eyes twinkling. "Maybe I'm just trying to keep up with the new photojournalist in the newsroom." You're making waves already." Her heart raced, and they talked, the coffee shop's hum fading as their conversation flowed, her photo assignments, his years chasing stories, the way their late-night encounter had shifted something between them. The tension was a constant undercurrent, every shared laugh and glance adding to it. Chloe's mind wandered to the way the office had felt alive last night, the way his presence had warmed her, and she wondered how far she could push these dangerous desires. "Your trouble," he said, his voice low, leaning forward, his elbow brushing hers on the table. "Staying late, turning my quiet nights upside down." She grinned, her heart pounding. "Good kind of trouble, I hope." His smile was slow, knowing, a spark of mischief in his eyes. "The best kind." They lingered in the booth, the article open between them, and Chloe found herself opening up more than she'd planned. Her fears about her photos not making an impact, her excitement about working at the paper, her dreams of seeing her work on the front page. Daniel listened, his eyes steady, his presence grounding her like a well-crafted headline. "You've got something special," he said, his voice sincere, his gaze unwavering. "Your photos, they're bold, like you. Don't let those doubts hold you back. The world needs your perspective." Her heart swelled, caught off guard by his encouragement, the warmth in his words wrapping around her like a soft lens. "Thanks," she said, her voice soft. "That means a lot." The next day, Chloe's nerves were electric as she prepared for a local book festival where Daniel was moderating a journalism panel. She'd volunteered to take photos, curious about his world, and wore a simple blouse and jeans, her camera slung over her shoulder. When she arrived, Daniel was setting up the stage, his blue eyes lighting up when he saw her. "Glad you made it," he said, handing her a program, his fingers grazing hers. "Didn't expect you to be an early bird after last night." She grinned, adjusting her camera. "Gotta keep you on your toes." The festival was lively, locals browsing bookstalls under string lights, Daniel's voice commanding as he led the panel. Chloe watched him, mesmerized by the way he spoke, confident and engaging, like a journalist shaping a story. When he caught her eye from the stage, flashing a quick smile, her heart skipped, the moment electric. "You're a natural," he said later as they packed up, his voice low, his eyes catching hers. "Got an eye for the perfect shot, even in a crowd." "Thanks," she said, her cheeks flushing, their faces close as they stacked programs. "You're not bad up there, though you're terrible at keeping things strictly professional." He laughed, stepping back, his eyes twinkling. "Maybe I don't want to keep things strictly professional." Her breath caught, the air charged with unspoken possibility. "Careful, Daniel," she teased, her heart pounding. "I might take that personally." His smile was slow, knowing. "Maybe I want you to." The festival stretched into the evening and Chloe lingered, helping Daniel clean up. They talked about her photos, his favorite stories, the way the newsroom felt like a world of its own. Every glance, every brush of their hands as they packed up, added to the tension. A tightrope she was eager to walk. Over the next few days, Daniel became a constant in Chloe's life, slipping into her routine with an ease that thrilled her. He'd stop by her desk with extra feedback on her shots, his grin betraying the excuse. They'd text late at night, sharing snippets of their lives, Daniel's stories of breaking news in his early days, Chloe's dreams of publishing her photo essays, her shots taking on a new vibrancy inspired by their connection. Each interaction was laced with flirty tension, a push and pull that left her dizzy. One afternoon, Daniel invited her to a local bookstore to browse journalism titles, claiming he needed her eye for a new book on photojournalism. "Thought you'd like the vibe," he said over the phone, his voice warm, "and I'd like your company." She agreed, her heart fluttering as she chose her sweater and jeans, her camera in her bag for spontaneous shots. The bookstore was cozy, shelves packed with novels and nonfiction, the air filled with the scent of paper and espresso. Daniel was at her side, his presence steady, his stories of old newsrooms making her laugh as they wandered the aisles. They shared a laugh over a quirky photojournalism book, their shoulders brushing as they reached for it, the contact electric. "You're good at this," she said, her voice teasing as they paused at a display of photography books, making a bookstore feel like a front-page story. He grinned, picking up a book and flipping through it. "Takes one to know one." "You're not exactly boring, Chloe." She laughed, nudging him playfully. "Gotta keep things interesting." His eyes twinkled, and he handed her the book to browse, their fingers brushing, the moment stretching as the bookstore faded away, leaving just the two of them. "This one's bold like you," he said, his voice low, his smile warm. Her cheeks flushed, and she smiled, her heart racing with her daring streak. She wanted to lean closer, to push the boundaries further, but she held back, savoring the spark, the way it made her feel like her photos were coming to life. One evening, Daniel invited her to his office for a private editorial review, claiming he needed her input on a new photo essay layout. Chloe hesitated, her heart racing at the idea of being alone with him again. The memory of their late-night encounter still vivid, but her curiosity won out. As she stepped into his office, the scent of ink and old books enveloped her, the space a mix of modern tech and classic newsroom charm. "Hey guys," Chloe said, her voice bright but with a playful edge, as if speaking to her imaginary audience, her eyes glinting with mischief. "We're about to get into this spicy portion of the story, so please don't forget to like and subscribe." She grinned, setting her camera on the desk, the air already buzzing with anticipation as she turned to Daniel, her heart pounding with her daring streak. They stood by his desk, a stack of photo proofs between them, and talked her latest shots, his editorial vision, the way their late-night encounter had sparked something new. The office felt alive, the memory of her bold move lingering like the hum of the city outside. "Chloe," he said, his voice low. The following week, Chloe's days felt like a photo bursting with contrast, each moment with Daniel adding new depth to her story. The newsroom was hectic, but he was a constant distraction, his presence lingering in her thoughts like a half-developed shot. He'd started leaving notes with his feedback, small handwritten things tucked into her proofs. "Found a shot today that reminded me of you. Too bold for the front page? Or bet I can guess your favorite story by the end of the week. Hint, it's not politics. D." Each note made her smile, her heart race, her daring streak growing with every interaction. Her coworker Mia noticed, cornering her at the coffee shop during a lull. "Daniel, huh?" she said, her tone teasing but cautious, her eyes narrowing. "He's got you all flustered." "Be careful, Chloe." "And I'm just having fun," Chloe said, but the words felt hollow, her mind replaying the warmth of his office, the spark of his touch. She wasn't sure what she was doing, only that Daniel made her feel alive, like a subject stepping into a perfectly framed shot. One night, they met for a quiet evening walk through the city, Daniel claiming he needed to clear his head after a long day. "Thought you'd like the inspiration," he said, his voice warm. "And I'd like your company." She agreed, wearing a light jacket and jeans, her hair loose, the city's lights casting a soft glow as they wandered. The streets were quiet, the shops closing, but the neon signs and murals gave them a vibrant energy. Daniel was at her side, his jacket brushing her arm, his stories of old scoops making her laugh as they passed a glowing cafe. "You're good at this," she said, her voice teasing as they paused by a mural of a typewriter, making a walk feel like a headline. He grinned, his eyes catching the neon glow. "Takes one to know one." "You're not exactly boring, Chloe." She laughed, nudging him playfully. "Gotta keep things interesting." They stood by the mural, their shoulders brushing as they studied it, the tension a constant undercurrent. Chloe's heart raced, her daring streak urging her to lean closer. But she held back, savoring the spark, the way it made her feel like she was living in one of her photos. One night, they met for a late-night coffee run at a 24-hour diner near the newsroom, the city quiet around them. The diner was all retro booths and neon signs, the air filled with the scent of fries and coffee. They sat across from each other, sharing a plate of fries, Daniel's presence steady. His stories of chasing deadlines painting vivid pictures in her mind. But the tension was a constant undercurrent. Every shared laugh and glance adding to it, the memory of their late-night encounter lingering like an undeveloped frame. "You're different," he said, his voice low, leaning forward, his elbow brushing hers on the table. "One late night, and you've got this fire. It's hard to look away." Her cheeks flushed and she tucked a strand of hair behind her ear, her heart pounding. "Good. I don't want you to look away." His laugh was low, warm, his eyes twinkling with a mix of amusement and something deeper. "Careful what you wish for." They lingered in the diner, the fries growing cold, and Chloe opened up more than she'd planned. Her fears about her photos not making a mark, her excitement about working at the paper, her dreams of seeing her work shape stories. Daniel listened, his eyes steady, his presence grounding her like a well-edited article. "You've got something special," he said, his voice sincere, his gaze unwavering. "Your photos, they're bold, like you. Don't let those doubts hold you back. The world needs your perspective." Her heart swelled, and she smiled, caught off guard by his encouragement, the warmth in his words wrapping around her like a soft filter. "Thanks," she said, her voice soft. "That means a lot." They walked back to the newsroom, the night air cool, the city's rhythm soothing. At the office door, Chloe turned to face him, her keys dangling, her heart pounding. The memory of their late-night encounter, the bold move that had started this spark, flashed in her mind, and the tension between them felt stronger than ever. "You're making it really hard to keep this." "Professional," she said, her voice a mix of teasing and truth, her hazel eyes locked on his. Daniel stepped closer, his hand resting on the doorframe above her, his body close enough to feel his warmth, his presence steady but electric. "Professional's overrated," he said, his voice low, rich, carrying the weight of their shared moments. "What do you want, Chloe?" Her mouth went dry, her heart racing with the thrill of her dangerous desires. What did she want? Safety, simplicity, the job she knew. Or this him, the thrill, the fire he ignited in her heart. "I don't know," she whispered, but her eyes lingered on his lips, betraying her. The memory of their late-night encounter, a quiet pulse in the back of her mind. He smiled, slow and knowing, his blue eyes warm but intense. "You do, and I'm not going anywhere until you say it." She laughed, a shaky sound, and stepped back into the doorway, clutching her bag like a shield, her heart pounding with the possibilities of her desires. "Good night, Daniel," she said, her voice soft but charged with unspoken promise, the spark between them brighter than the city lights outside. His laugh was warm, promising, his eyes locked on hers as he leaned back. "Good night, Chloe." But this isn't over. She closed the door, her heart racing, the memory of the office, their late-night chat, his touch lingering like a photo she couldn't develop. As she leaned against the door, she smiled, her heart ablaze with the thrill of what might come next, knowing she was ready to keep pushing the boundaries of her dangerous desires, one bold move at a time.